Hey guys, it's almost May and everything's going to be changing super fast around here. I just want to take you guys on one last little greenhouse tour before we empty it out. We've got lots of tomatoes and peppers that'll be staying in here, but most of this shelf down here is fruit trees and stuff like that. So we're going to be planting that stuff today. We got some fruit trees over here. There's 2 apples, 2 cherries, and 2 plums. And then we have some mulberry trees, some grapes, and stuff like that that's going in the ground today. So let's go ahead and get to work. We've got a lot of stuff to plant. We've got these 2 grapes in the back here, purple pots. Everyone all the way up through the tomatoes. They're so tall now. Get these guys in the ground. We have knocked out so many projects in the garden today. I recorded the intro to this video before we started working this morning, and I'm honestly just blown away by everything that we've accomplished. Never mind the chaos behind me. This is just farm life with kids. So I'm excited to show you guys everything that's growing, all the projects that we've done today. We've done some major cleanup, so it's really starting to look like a garden. Let's go see it. So first we have our peas along this arch trellis. They're doing really well. We've got some really tall ones too. And we have our zinnia bed. There's lots of seeds here that haven't popped up yet. But the calendula that I planted out here and the zinnias, these guys, they died off in the hard freeze that we had. It got down to about 28, so I really didn't expect them to live through that. And then back here, I've planted some rows of celery, and then I think there's probably going to be some basil popping up from last year. I had some lettuce leaf basil back there. And we have a row here. This is zucchini plants. This one's been out here for about 3 weeks, and all of the leaves on the outside died off in that hard freeze. But the stem still seems pretty strong, so I'm going to see if it makes it. These guys, they've been out here for probably about 4 or 5 days. Some of the leaves look a little bit rough on them, but they looked rough in the greenhouse. That's why I brought them out. And then this one has been in here for 3 weeks too, and all of the outer leaves, they died. I think they froze, and then I cut them off. And then the middle is popping up just beautifully. So this one's pretty hardy. And then in between each of these plants, I have a green bean plant, which is a bush variety. So that won't need any kind of trellising. And then we have our potatoes and onions doing really well. Some of the potatoes did freeze a little bit, like this one, pop froze, but there's still some fresh leaves down here. So I'm just going to break that off. It'll be all right. That one's still fine. Most of them look like this. And they're kind of purple. That's not brown. That's kind of purple. These are the all blue potatoes, which are just a really beautiful bluish purple deep color. And then over here, this actually was like kind of a trash collection area for a long time, which kind of sucked because this is where we pull in. Our driveway is just up here, and then we pull in. So this is kind of the first thing that you see. So we cleaned that up, and we put this old swing frame that was in the yard here. I think I'm going to put some dahlias on that to climb up it. And then this is walking onions. I got these from a friend. The idea with these are called walking onions because this part will eventually get bigger and heavier and drop to the ground, and then it will sprout up from there and have another one of these plants. And everything that I put over here in this corner is something that should spread over time, so it should kind of just fill in. This is a bleeding heart. I've got a little flower on it, so pretty. And a lilac bush. And then this is tiger lilies. This is our project we did today. This took a lot less time than I thought it would. We just put in 3 T-posts with 2 cattle panels. This is all, again, scrap stuff. Most of what we use is stuff that we found around the yard. So We planted a couple of grapes, those really big grapes from the greenhouse. We got those in there. And then their companion plant is chamomile, also from the greenhouse. Chamomile will help get rid of pests and fungus, and it adds nutrients to the ground, and it'll also, fingers crossed, work as a ground cover to keep the grass down. And over here we have our brassica bed. Most of our brassicas died off, which is sad, but it is what it is. We've got a few broccoli plants that are doing pretty well. There's some wild mustard mixed in there. And then our cabbage plants, they're alive, but they're struggling. We got a couple of artichokes that lived. And then we've got some lettuce. And I planted just, I think 2 days ago, I planted here and here some kale. It's 1,000 head kale, so it's supposed to be really big. I think the leaves are like 3 foot, so definitely huge. And we finally got our second tomato trellis put up. I think it took all of about 10 minutes. So one of those projects that we procrastinated when we really did not need to. So we will have an aisle of tomatoes. I have planted peas all along this one, and then there will be beans all along this one. And we did cilantro on this closer half of both, and then basil on the farther half of both, to just kind of experiment to see what works best as a companion plant, how it interferes with the peas, how it interferes with the beans. I like a good science experiment. And over here, this is our okra bed. Last year it was peppers, but I think we've kind of outgrown this one. So we're going to make this the okra bed, and this one will be the peppers. We did some controlled burns, as you guys can see out there today. Got a lot of stuff cleaned up. So this will be peppers, and I think I have some beets thrown in here. We'll see if those actually come up. And then that long line of tall grass is our elderberry. Haven't quite mastered cutting around it yet, but it'll be just fine. There's lots and lots of healthy elderberry all the way down there. This is another project that we accomplished today. This was a hoop house that these needed a lot of work, but this one never had the front or the back on it, and it never had plastic over the top. It just had the shade cloth, which we didn't actually maintain it, and the wind just ripped it to shreds. So we ripped that down and threw it away. There's a nice little workbench in here, some storage under the table, and we are growing loofah. I sowed some loofah seeds, and there's also a little loofah plant over there. Hopefully over the top of this, and in the fall, winter, whenever we put our goats out here, we're actually going to cover it with either wood or some metal sheeting. We put our goats out here in the fall to kind of let them fertilize the ground, let them clean up, and it's also extra food for them. All of this tall grass behind me, we just stopped mowing. Just this section, not all of it. So our goats have lots of feed. We really didn't have to supplement a whole lot of hay this winter, which saved us a ton of money and a lot of hassle. Hay was really hard to find and really expensive when you did this year. Now I'm out here in our orchard. These are the trees that were established. They were already here when we moved here. We've just pruned them and fertilized them, and the only thing that we've gotten anything from is this pear, this sideways looking pear here. Its shape looks a little funky, but it makes it really easy to harvest. You can get right on up to the top branches, even me. There was a bunch of little baby pears on here before the freeze, and I'm going to show you guys. They definitely did not make it. They were nice and green and hard before the freeze, and now they're not good. If you break them open, they're done for. But there's a few little flowers on the other side of this tree. And then we have sad looking little peach tree. Caleb had to prune this one quite a bit. I don't really remember what was wrong with it, but it had to be pretty much cut down to this little nubs. And then we have some new growth on it this year, but not a whole lot. And this one over here, this is also a peach tree. We haven't gotten any fruit off of it, but it has had leaves and it's looked fairly healthy. Last year there was a little bit of a fungus on it, so we're still learning how to fix that and doing it all without chemicals too. We've got, this one is a apple tree, I think. It's teeny tiny. It was here whenever we moved here and it really hasn't grown a whole lot bigger than it was. So, but we have some new growth on it this year. So we're hoping that eventually it'll grow into something. And then this guy back here is also a little peach tree, pear tree. It's a peach tree or a pear tree. It's another one that was just really unhealthy. Caleb had to cut it down to tiny little stubs. I'll show you guys. It was cut down to right here. And then all these little branches have grown over the last about year or so. And they're growing downwards, which this will make it really easy to harvest and also look really cool. Through here we have our, it was a fig bed, now it's more of a mint bed. Wherever you put mint, mint is going to stay. And it was just that far half over there that was mint, and it's spreading all the way across, which is fine. It's a really good companion plant. It helps with the bugs. And our fig trees are looking not so healthy. We're not really sure if they're alive, but we're hoping, and if not, we'll put another kind of tree over here. There's plenty of room for expansion. We did a big controlled burn back here. So we're going to be putting some mulberry trees and I believe the cherry trees over here. And then right here, this is just heavy fertilized with the goat hay and the goat bedding and stuff like that. And that'll be for the apple trees. So eventually we want this whole strip on this side to be a giant orchard. But for right now, we have this. It's about 8 foot tall, I think. I don't know. It's really tall. It's a lot taller than me. We have some potatoes planted in the middle. We covered those up before the freeze, so you can't see them now, but there's potatoes in the middle, and then there's peas on this side, the south side. Or sorry, this is the west side. And then this is the east side, and we have beans on this side to hopefully kind of help shade the peas and make them last a little bit longer. Back outside the garden, it's a little bit of a mess. There's kids' toys everywhere, but hey, that means the kids are playing outside, not inside. We've got our chickens back out here free ranging. For a while, we had an aggressive rooster, and I just didn't want him out around the kids. But he went to live at a friend's house, so he's going to be fertilizing their eggs and not being my problem anymore. And this was our first hatch of this year out of only our eggs. These birds are so pretty. They are a Bielefelder, cream leg bar, Wyandotte, and Buff Orpington. I think that's all the breeds that they're mixed with, but they're a barnyard mix. And they just turned out so pretty. Down here we have our turkey and our Cornish cross. These guys have been doing so good free ranging. It's almost time to butcher them. See how they're getting really big and they're just kind of having trouble walking. They did grow really fast, and I haven't seen their meat yet, but I don't know that we will raise these again. Their quality of life just definitely is not up there with the other chickens, and that's really important to us. And in the coop, for the first time ever, we have broody ladies that are actually sitting for longer than a week. This one over here has been in here for, I'd say, about 2 weeks, maybe almost 2 weeks. And then she's only been in here for less than a week, but they're both consistently laying. So we're leaving the eggs underneath them, and maybe we'll get a few bonus chicks. I've never had a broody hen hatch out a chick on the property, and I think that would just be the cutest thing ever. So I'm really hoping that they pull through for us. Taking a family walk to go feed the pigs. Hi, Caleb.
Hello.
Carter's on my back. Got the goats over here walking with us. Say hi, Cooper. Cooper always beats us there. And they're waiting. Hi, Boris. Beulah. Little Marigold. Hi, babies. Hi. The pigs have a little duck friend in here. We had a friend who got ducks and didn't want them anymore, so we took them, and he's living his best life over here, helping us clean up the pond, helping us eat the ticks, hopefully, some of the bugs that are in here, and he eats the pig's food that they spill out on the ground. So he's pretty self-sustaining and super cute. Thanks for hanging out with us today. It's really fun being able to show you guys all the work that we're doing, and hopefully you guys are kind of learning a little bit along the way. We're trying to get a little bit better at these vlogs, but we are all pooped. Carter's already out. So until next time, I hope you guys have a good day.